Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzuoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. Does spending decline over the course of retirement? With all this inflation, you'd probably say, well, I guess no way. But listen to what financial advisor Dana Anspesh recently said on FinStream TV.
Right now, where everybody's talking about the price increases of gas and groceries, we are routinely saying, we have built-in inflation raises for you. Would you like to increase the monthly paycheck that you receive? There's room to do so. And even though we test and we model and we show them that they could increase it and it's not going to increase the risk of running out of money, overwhelmingly, we are still hearing people say, no, I'm comfortable on what I'm receiving. So they're absorbing those costs or making trade-offs, but nobody is expressing that they're feeling that pinch.
That's interesting to me, especially with the cost of living up, inflation, the cost of goods, oil, you name it, gas. That a lot of people are saying, no, I'm good. Steve, I wonder, are people coming to you going, hey man, I need more income here?
I respectfully disagree.
Same, yeah.
Maybe it's because of the state that I live in, but I'm not hearing that. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing just the opposite.
Exactly.
So, and there are products out there. And everything has a plus and a minus, a give and a take. So there are products out there that do have inflation hedges built in. But the cost of that is that the checks start out smaller, and then they increase over time. So one of the reasons you want to come in to talk with me is because there are different ways to create cash flow and create income. And you can go on the internet all you want, and you're going to go down rabbit holes, and you're not going to be happy with the results. You need to come in and speak with me because I can explain to you in English the different ways that you can achieve your objective of cash flow. So whether you want the highest guaranteed amount immediately to be level, or if you want something a little lower and increase, we can help you with that. We can customize it. Think of it as like your Social Security check. Do you take it early, or do you defer it until age 70 and get the higher check in the future? That's kind of like what the discussion is. And I will wade through that and show you examples and numbers that will help you make sense of it all, because it can be very intimidating and complicated, Jess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It can be intimidating and, really just stressful. And a lot of people, that's why, let's be honest, a lot of people say, I can't have this conversation. It's too much for my brain. I can't talk about this.
Yeah.
And listen, I get that. That's quite frankly a normal response. But at the end of the day, you have to face this fear head on. You have to have this conversation, because tomorrow, when it will inevitably come, when you tell the boss and say, I'm out of here, and then you got to wonder what's next, especially when that paycheck stops. You want to know, how am I going to create income in retirement? You want to know how you're going to be able to keep up with this clearly heightened inflation that I don't think anybody sees slowing down. And again, this is where Steve comes in, guys. Let him put his decades of experience to work for you. Bring your questions, bring your fears, bring your insecurities, bring your stressors, whatever it is. All you got to do is get to the phone and say, look, Steve, let's have this conversation, because I need to know what I'm up against in retirement. I need to know my income is going to be there when I need it to be. All part of this portfolio and income review. That phone number, 508-552-3230. 508-552-3230. And again, the website, fairwayfinancial.net. Steve, are you or were you a big Lego fan as when you were a little boy? Or
Of course. And my wife, oh my God, she should work in a Lego factory.
She still likes Legos. Wow.
Are you kidding?
She builds like the really complicated thousands
Oh
and
my
thousands
God,
of
she's
things?
got towers, houses,
What?
all kinds of stuff at the house. It's
Oh my gosh.
unbelievable. Yeah, as a matter of fact, she called a place that's local that you can bring this stuff to and people buy it.
Buy it. Yeah, I've seen that.
Buy it pre-made.
Yeah. They
Okay,
just want to
Tracy
display
does
it.
all the work. And I'm like, honey, you don't want to sell those. And she goes, look, they're sitting up there. Some of them are collecting dust. I'm going to keep this one, of course, Rivendell, right?
Ooh,
And,
yeah.
oh, my God. Yeah, she's really, really big into it. You know how we love F1 racing. She has an
Of course.
F1 McLaren car, Lego.
Of course she does.
Okay? So
Wow. Well, listen,
people are really into it. So
yeah,
and I
people
love
are really into it. I loved learning that about Tracy. And here's the deal: she might have some good money into that, because there's a headline that you don't see every day saying, "Are Lego sets really outperforming stocks?" The article points out that a few retired or even limited edition sets have surged in value. I'm talking 10 to 11% or so. But that's not typical. Most Lego sets never become collectibles, and the ones that do rely on perfect timing, pristine condition, and demand in a very narrow resale market, very niche, if you will. So when people hear stories like this, be it Lego, collectibles, maybe the latest hot investment, Steve, how do you help them separate novelty from actually planning for what can support you in retirement?
Well, it's a reality check. When my dad passed a little over a year ago, my sister and I, my brother, started to, try to clear out the basement. And by the way, he gave me motivation to get rid of most of my stuff that I haven't touched in years now and not wait, because I don't want to leave my kids with all that stuff. But that's how that generation was. So I get it. But I got to tell you something. There were some flexible flyer sleds floating around down there, like 6 of them.
Wow.
There were some old Schwinn bikes that are worth $6,000 to $8,000 today.
Wow.
If you take them to the right place and they restore them. There's a lot of crazy stuff down there, but it's all novelty. It's not. You don't build your retirement plan on this stuff. Okay, it can be a little hobby to give you some side cash or whatever, or some peace of mind, maybe giving it to someone who will appreciate it or something like that. Like I've got some rods and reels down there from my dad that I know there are collectors out there, including my clients, who would love to have that. So I make it available to them. So, but that's what it should be looked like. Like when I mentioned Tracy, like selling those or giving those to whatever, we're not talking about, hey, we're going to retire now. It's just... It's actually part of a process of maybe cleaning up a room or neating something up and doing it like that. But please don't confuse that with real retirement planning. Real retirement planning starts with your investments, okay? Your 401ks, your IRAs, your brokerage accounts. It starts with organizing your Social Security and a pension if you have it, and making all the pieces that you have work together. Okay, that's the key, because if they don't talk to each other and you're taking things at the wrong time, you could cause unnecessary taxation. So the last thing you want to do is to trigger a tax that you wouldn't have triggered had you had not done that. You know what I mean? So that's why we're here, is to help coach people through the maze of when to take things, how it reacts with other things, Jess. That's important. That's the key to the successful retirement plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, just back to the Lego idea, where you might have something that you value, that you think is worth, X amount. Out in the real world, it may not. So it may be something your parents held on to. I've heard of people holding on, whether it's baseball collections or cars or vinyls or what have you, maybe even Legos.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just put, as we're circling back to the beginning of the show, all your eggs in one basket and say, well, this I'm going to sell one day and it's going to make my retirement the most amazing thing in the world. No guarantee for that. So that's what you're talking about, Steve, is putting a guaranteed plan in place.
Yeah, you definitely want a guaranteed plan. Like, for example, I see all these things with coins on TV, and I see these.
Oh, yeah.
I love this one. You ready? The $5 minted coin they're selling for $25.
Yeah.
So help me out, Jess.
Yeah.
You're already in the whole $20.
Sure, yes.
Am I missing something? So that's what I mean. It's like, come on, people. That's not real retirement planning. That's just a hobby. And by the way, a hobby is really, really important and good to have in retirement.
Yeah.
You need that, by the way, for your mental health. It's really, really important to make sure you're doing something that you love while you're retired. All right? So that's what you should look at and focus on that as, and not a retirement plan. I can help you with a real retirement plan. So that's That's how I feel about it anyway.
Get more details on the website fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzuoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzuoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzuoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzuoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.